Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And it's our second day of our article about art therapy. An art therapist gives some advice. It's our TOEIC unit. And today we've got a related topic, how making art can benefit anybody. If you ask this question, hey, how can art benefit people? Well, we're going to tell you how making art can benefit any person.
Yeah, in day one of our TOEIC unit, we really focused on some of the art strategies and the art activities that a particular art therapist was recommending. She had an online therapeutic art workshop that she offered to the viewers, probably a YouTuber who was trying to help people, kind of de-stress. A lot of our lives are very busy, they're chaotic. We're always online or on our phones. Our kids want us. Maybe you're a student and you've got tests that are hanging over your head, a lot of stress in your life. Well, sometimes using art can really help reduce that stress. So here, beyond just physical exercise, which does help reduce stress, if you don't really like exercising, maybe this is a way for you to reduce stress, and that's by doing a little bit more art, adding some art or, some sort of hobby into your life that helps you stop thinking about things that are bothering you or stressing you out so you can relax.
Indeed, and these are some suggestions besides other suggestions that people make, as you said, getting exercise or taking up a hobby or something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people take up kind of unhealthy habits like smoking and drinking and stuff like that.
Gambling online.
Gambling, indeed. They try to use those things to handle stress.
Not good.
I guess, the more healthy suggestions that we have, the better.
Yeah.
So again, we've got this kind of fictitious website or whatever, Mental Health Daily. Maybe it's a newspaper or something. And they're going to try to tell us how we can make art and how it can benefit anybody. Let's find out what this is all about. Let's read our lesson for today now one time. Here at Mental Health Daily, we're always looking for the best ways to help people attain greater mental wellness. One of the best methods we know for easing stress and anxiety is exercising your creative spirit, and that is precisely what art therapy aims to help people do. Doubters may say it's all just doodling, but research shows the real and substantial ways that art making can physically alter our responses to stress. One recent study published in the scientific journal Art Therapy found that making any kind of art for just 45 minutes can reduce people's cortisol levels. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone because more of it is produced in response to stress. The study involved 39 adults ranging in age from 18 to 59, with around half reporting they had little experience with making art. Participants received an assortment of materials to work with, including modeling clay, markers, and paper. They then were given approval to create anything they wanted. After 45 minutes of creating, it was found that 75% of the study participants had reduced cortisol levels. Researchers weren't surprised that art making reduced cortisol, but what did catch them off guard was that the effect was as strong for novice artists as it was for experienced ones. This suggests that people don't need to be accomplished artists to get results from art therapy. The simple act of creating is enough to bring about definite results.
Okay, guys, let's jump in. Here at Mental Health Daily, probably a magazine. The title of a magazine, as Tom was saying to me in the break, it's probably also a website because nowadays you can't just publish a magazine. A lot of people aren't buying real magazines or real books. Everything's electronic, so they probably have a website. So they're at that particular Mental Health Daily website. They're always looking for the best ways to help people attain greater mental wellness. Everybody wants that. It's not just enough to be physically well. We want to be mentally well too, because they're both very important. So if you're going to be trying to attain something, that's a vocabulary word. It just means it's something you're trying to successfully achieve something you want to accomplish. So it is very important for people to have really good mental wellness. And in the world today, even kids are stressed, you know? I know here in Taiwan, the students work really hard. They study a lot, have a lot of homework. Sometimes they have bushiban or cram school they have to go to. So they can get a little stressed out. So this isn't just advice for older people. Young people need a way to relax and de-stress as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of older people are under stress, and they probably transfer that stress over to their children. And this might help parents relax a little bit and not be so uptight. And hey, they'll treat their kids a little better. And who knows, the kids will probably benefit as well and get better grades as a result.
Cool.
So that's what this magazine or this website is all about. They want to help people attain or to reach greater mental wellness and be aware of themselves and be happy and stuff like that. And one of the best methods we know for easing stress and anxiety is exercising your creative spirit. So this is a good method or a good way to reduce your stress and to reduce your anxiety. And it's not just to exercise your body, but to exercise your creative spirit, okay? All of us have this in our souls. When we were kids, of course, we like to draw pictures, but eventually maybe our teachers or our parents said, yeah, well, you can be creative, but if you want to get a good job in the future, you've got to start learning mathematics or physics and stuff like that, even though those things can be creative as well. But we're talking about creativity in terms of art here. So, yeah, we all have this creative spirit. Some of us have probably
suppressed it.
Suppressed it, that's the word I'm looking for. It's still there. It's still deep down in our souls. And that is precisely what art therapy aims to help people do, to release that creative spirit.
Yeah, I totally agree with this. And I think sometimes it's kind of a shame that kids start out with this big streak or this big part of them that's just creative. They like to imagine things. They have a great imagination, and sometimes it just gets kind of pushed out of them. So they become too practical and they lose that creative spirit or that creative freedom that really does a lot of good things for our mental wellness, our mental health. So one of the best ideas we've been talking about is just, indulging in some art therapy. Now, I'm not really a visual artist. I'm a singer, I act, I dance, but wow, I'm terrible at visual arts. Now, Tom is the opposite. He's great at drawing. He's a great doodler. So I'm going to let you talk about doodling here, Tom, because that's something that you do every single day.
Well, I think that's the point they're trying to make here. You don't have to be accomplished or an expert at it.
Yeah, but
Anybody
I'm really
can do
bad.
I don't really consider myself an expert. I have a lot to learn myself.
Oh, I think you're great at it.
Well, I'm satisfied in some areas, but not others. But still, the point is, if you just have a piece of paper and you have a pencil and you draw a circle or a line and you put them in different combinations, hey, you're making art, and there's no way anybody can change your mind about that. So here it says, doubters may say it's all just doodling, but research shows the real and substantial ways that art making can physically alter our responses to stress. So yeah, a lot of us probably think that, well, I can't do that because I never went to art school. I can't possibly paint as well as Bob Ross or Pablo Picasso or whoever. But so they're going to say, oh, doodling, that doesn't count, That's like trying to say you're a writer when you sit down and just write a whole bunch of letters on the page or something like that. That's what they'll probably say. It's just doodling. But, well, we've got some research to back this up here.
Cool.
If you do Zentangle or something like that. It shows that there are real and substantial ways that making art can alter our responses to stress. So yes, we've got some research. There have been some studies done that show that just doodling or doing Zentangle or taking that piece of paper and that pencil and doing whatever, that can really alter your mental state. It can alter our responses to stress. I should back up here and talk about the word substantial.
Right.
If something is substantial, that means it is real, it exists.
It's significant.
And it's significant indeed, and it's very important. Indeed. So, yes, there are substantial ways that art making can improve your mental health. These are just things that are documented by research. Research proves that these are substantial ways to improve your mental health.
Yeah, they say that art making can physically alter our responses to stress, which is great. Sometimes if you're really stressed, you react poorly to situations that are kind of chaotic or not very smooth. Maybe you yell, or maybe you lose your cool, or you say something you wish you hadn't. So if you want to alter your responses to stress, maybe you should try some art making. To alter here is one of our vocabulary words. It just means to change or to cause something to change in just a small way. It's not a huge way. You're not remaking or rethinking or redoing something. You're just making a small adjustment, a small change. We'll often use this word, guys. If we go and we buy some pants at a store and they're too long, we might ask if they can alter the length of the pants. So they will take those and hem them up or take them down, depending on what you need to alter or modify, just to make a small change.
Indeed. So, yeah, don't think that doodling is a bad thing. It can actually help your mental state. And indeed, if you're a stockbroker or you work at a bank or something and your job is very stressful, it wouldn't hurt, again, to draw some circles or triangles or squares on a piece of paper while you're sitting there at your desk on the phone with an angry client or something. It could probably do you actually some good. Now, one recent study published in the scientific journal Art Therapy found that making any kind of art for just 45 minutes can reduce people's cortisol levels. Okay, so Art Therapy, I guess, is a scientific journal, and they had a study which was published in that magazine or on that website, and they discovered or found that, hey, if you just make any kind of art, no matter how good it is or how bad it is, it can reduce your cortisol levels. Now, cortisol, isn't that some kind of hormone or something?
Yeah, it's a stress hormone, and it's not good for you. In fact, if you have too much cortisol in your body, it can actually lead you to gaining weight, which is something, of course, most of us don't want to do. So, yeah, it's not good for your body. It causes inflammation. It's not a good thing. All of those things are bad. It might lead to you getting sick more often, too. So that would be not just a mental effect, it would be a physical effect. You don't want a lot of cortisol in your body. You want to de-stress and find ways that will take away some of that stress you're feeling. So it's often called or referred to as the stress hormone because more of it's produced in response to stress. It also will lead to heart attacks if you're in an older age group. So none of these things are good. The study involved 39 adults ranging in age from 18 to 59. Now, 18 is pretty young, with around half reporting they had little experience with making art. Yeah, that would be me. In fact, I never doodle, but today while we're doing this unit, I've been doodling to see if it would help.
And has it helped?
Well, a little, but I still can't draw. It looks terrible. I'll have to show you this.
Well, I don't think it's about the finished product.
I hope not.
It's about the actual act of doing it.
Yeah,
so I would
not
worry too much about the result of your efforts there. Again, it's all about the effort, not the result. But yeah, they did this study, and there were some young people involved, people between the ages of 18 to 59, and half said, hey, I've never done art before, and I guess the other half had some experience. And participants received an assortment of materials to work with, including modeling clay, markers, and paper. So here we've got an assortment of stuff. That's just a miscellaneous collection of various things. In this particular case, they had some modeling clay, which again is available at bookstores all over Taiwan. Kids love the modeling clay. They've always got cute little cartoon pictures on it. But hey, adults can play with that stuff as well. Feels pretty cool to actually be shaping that stuff in your hand.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I just made a square. Oh, this is a triangle. Oh, this looks like somebody's face. It can actually be quite satisfying.
Yeah, it is fun. One brand that's pretty famous, at least in the States, is Play-Doh. So it's dough, it's modeling clay that you actually can play with. The problem with it, though, is a lot of kids take that modeling clay and they eat it. Do not eat it, people.
Not good.
Yeah, as you get older, you stop doing that. So they were given these sorts of materials, an assortment of materials to work with. They were then given approval to create anything they wanted. There were no rules. Sometimes when there are no rules, it's much more relaxing, feeling like you can do anything you want and create anything you want. It'll be okay with them. So if you're given approval for something, it just means somebody says yes to you. So you're actually getting someone to agree to something or accepting something as okay or satisfactory. Sometimes if you want to go on a field trip, you have to get your parents' approval first. You have to get their permission, their okay for you to go on that field trip with your school classmates. So yeah, they could do anything they wanted to. And so after 45 minutes of creating, it was found that 75% of the participants had reduced their levels of cortisol, which is great. 75%.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the result. We're talking about the process. Just by doing this stuff, reduced those levels of cortisol. So again, don't worry if your finished project, it looks good or not. Again, it's all about the act of creating art. And here in the final paragraph, it says, researchers weren't surprised that art making reduced cortisol. Okay, so researchers kind of expected this result. They weren't surprised that the cortisol levels went down. But what did catch them off guard was that the effect was as strong for novice artists as it was for experienced ones. So yeah, again, they expected the cortisol levels to go down, but what they did not expect was that it would affect experienced artists and non-experienced artists equally. So yeah, if you have no experience or if you have a lot of experience, doing art will lower your cortisol in the same way.
So it did surprise them or catch them off guard. That's kind of what that means. If someone catches you off guard, you weren't expecting something that happened. So, kind of surprised. They were caught off guard that the effect was as strong for novice or beginning artists as it was for experienced ones. Like Tom said, it's the process, not the result. So novice, if you can say, maybe someone says, oh, I'm just a novice. It just means they don't have much experience at doing something. It could be a hobby. It could be maybe even a career they've just started. Yeah, I'm a novice singer. I'm a novice baseball player. So you're not really very experienced if you're a novice at it. Now, this suggests that people don't need to be accomplished artists. You don't have to be good to get the results from art therapy that you're hoping to get. The simple act of creating is enough to bring about definite results. If something's definite, it's certain, it's for sure. Maybe a friend of yours asks you if you want to go camping this weekend. And you say, I want to check on my schedule. And they call you back and you go, it's definite, I can go. You can also use that as an adverb. I'll definitely be able to go, or I'm definitely going. But yeah, it's a definite yes.
And it's a definite yes now, or it's definitely the time for us to take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher. But stay tuned. We'll be right back with some discussion questions.
Hello, my name is Shelby. 艺术创作如何使每个人都受益呢？文章一开始引用每日心理邮报说，我们一直在寻找最棒的方式，帮助人们获得更加的心理健康。To help people attain greater mental wellness. Attain 获得 mental wellness 心理健康。其中一个抒压方式是展现你的创意精神，而这正好就是艺术治疗要做的事情。第二句中 is exercising your creative spirit. Exercise 这里当锻炼使用，要锻炼你的创意。它还有其他的意思，例如 exercise your voting right， 行使你的投票权。Is exercising 也可以写成 is to exercise。下一句，怀疑的人会说这只是 doodling。Doodle 随意乱画，加上 ing 当名词，表示乱画乱写。但是研究显示， 艺术创作能够 physically alter our responses to stress， 真实地改变我们对应压力。physically 身体上的或者实际地 alter 改变，同义字例如 vary V-A-R-Y 或者 change 或者 modify M-O-D-I-F-Y 改变。response 回应，对什么的回应就写成 one's response to something， 这里接 stress 压力，对压力的回应。我们到第二段，它更进一步的说明为什么在前两句的地方，在 Art Therapy 期刊45分钟之内的创作会降低 cortisol 皮质醇的浓度。cortisol 也常被叫做压力荷尔蒙，因为 more of it is produced in response to stress。 more 是代名词，再加上 of it 表示 it 当中的数量有多少。 in response to 对什么的回应，当面对压力的时候，体内 cortisol 便会增加。第三句，这项研究包含了39个成年人，年纪在18到59岁。动词 involve 包含， involve adults 包含成年人。 involve 也常写成 PP 的形态，例如说 That's no concern of me, I'm not involved， 这件事与我无关。Ranging in age 年纪包含， range 是范围，分词形态修饰前面的先行词 adults。 in age 在年纪上，受试者各个年代都有。接着后面再加上 with around half reporting 说明近乎一半的受试者的状态。 They had a little experience 几乎没什么经验。第四句，参与者拿到各式各样可以使用的素材，包含造型黏土等。 An assortment of 各式各样的。 Assortment 它名词，各式各样，去掉字尾 ment， assort 是分类分级的意思。逗点后面的 including 原来是 which include， 省略了 which include 变成 including， 也可以用 inclusive of 来表达inclusive。 最后两句，他们可以随心所欲的创作，45分钟后发现 75% 的实验者皮质醇都下降了。最后一段说，研究人员不意外，艺术创作降低皮质醇，但是 what did catch them off guard was…… what 是什么的事情，它所引导的子句当这整个句子的主词，而动词是 was。 guard 警卫， bodyguard 就是贴身保镖。 catch 人 off guard 这个片语是指让人措手不及，让人出乎意料之外。这实验成果让研究人员大吃一惊。 That 这效果对新手画家以及有经验的老手一样强烈。 For novice 对新手而言， novice 新手相当于 beginner。 文章最后一句说，这暗示着不需要成为有造诣的艺术家才能获得成果。动词 suggest 如果当建议，有命令人该如何做，接着的 that 子句是应做而未做的事情，就要用假设语气，动词写成 should 加原形， should 可省略，或者是动词的过去式。但是如果是当暗示，则接一般时态。在文章这句中，实验结果暗示任何人都可获得相同的艺术治疗结果，所以 that people don't need to be…… 写成了一般时态。好，我们再复习最后导致产生的动词片语 bring about something 相当于 lead to something， lead L-E-A-D 或者 result in something result R-E-S-U-L-T。 以上是今天的讲解，谢谢收听。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We've got some discussion questions for you today. We'll have a discussion ourselves, and then you all can try it yourselves in your own time. So here's our first question. Have you ever tried therapy in any form? And what could you learn from it?
Well, not for me personally, but I worked for a company called Pathway 21. It was a temporary job during a summer that I was off from university. And it was an interesting group. They worked with drug addicts and also with kids who had been abused as children. And they taught them breathing exercises to improve their mood and to calm them down. And I tried the breathing exercises, and they were really cool. See, I never would have had a chance to try them otherwise. I wouldn't have thought of it, really. But we know that meditation can kind of de-stress people as well. But yeah, breathing therapy. And I learned that deep breathing really can kind of calm you down and help you deal with whatever situation you're in. So what kind of art, Tom, do you find most relaxing to make?
What kind of art do I find most relaxing to make? Well, I think just the basic sketch is pretty good. Usually I just take a pencil and I do kind of an outline of something, and then I take ink. I use some kind of permanent markers, you know, the Sakura brand, or Mitsubishi has some good line markers, I guess they're called. And then you go over it with ink, and then you get a final outline of stuff, and then you can apply watercolor pencils or whatever, and you can get yourself a nice drawing. And yeah, you don't have to produce any really fantastic results that you can put on the wall of a bookstore or something like that.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you frame some of these drawings?
No, actually, none of my drawings are finished products. They're all mostly just doodles.
Yeah.
But it's for fun. You know, it's about the act, as I've said before. Maybe someday I should try to, you know, come up with some decent compositions and some finished projects. But for now, it's just fun doing it this way. And I find that very therapeutic indeed. I did also want to say that these are all kinds of mental therapy, I guess.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as physical therapy. I think it was last year or so, I kind of hurt my foot. And I went to see some doctors at the Taipei Medical University Hospital.
Yeah.
And then I went to see the physical therapist there who did a really great job. They're very professional there. And it took care of my problem there.
Cool.
My foot does not hurt anymore. So, yeah, I think they did a pretty good job there. That was physical therapy.
Yeah, they're both really important for us. We have to be physically healthy as well as mentally healthy. So give these questions a shot in your group. Talk about these. See if you can help each other learn a little bit more about therapy. Share your feelings and why it's important for us to be creative with art. And it doesn't matter if you're good or not. You just have to give it a shot. So that's it for now, guys. We're going to say goodbye, but we hope you'll join us for our next program. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
See ya.